Am I the a-hole for being upset that my boyfriend keeps falling asleep and missing our secret late-night dates? I'm so frustrated. I don't know what to do anymore. My boyfriend and I have been together for 3 years now. We're both 20 years old. And for our entire relationship, we've had to sneak around to see each other. Why? Because we come from very strict, religious families. They don't approve of us dating. They'd freak out if they knew we were together. So the only way we can meet up is super late at night. Or I guess I should say early in the morning. We wait until our parents are asleep. Then, usually around 2 a.m., one of us sneaks out to see the other. It's the only time we can be alone together, without our families knowing. The problem is, half the time we make these secret plans, my boyfriend falls asleep. He doesn't show up. He leaves me waiting for him, sometimes for hours. It happened again last night. I was so excited to see him. We hadn't met up in over a week. I miss him like crazy when we're apart. He promised he'd sneak out and come to my house at 2:30 a.m. I live about 20 minutes away from him. I stayed up so late waiting. 3 a.m. rolls around. Then 3:30. Still no sign of him. I'm texting him, calling him. No response. Finally, close to 4 a.m., he texts back. And guess what he says? "I'm so sorry, babe. I fell asleep." I couldn't believe it. I was crushed and so angry. This happens all the time. I'd say at least a third of the times we make plans, he doesn't follow through because he falls asleep. Even though he's the one who picks these crazy late times in the first place. I've told him so many times that I'd rather sneak out earlier, like at midnight, or even 10 p.m. But he says that's too risky. He thinks his parents will catch him, so he insists on these super late night meetups. But then he can't even stay awake for them. It's not like I'm not tired too.
I'm exhausted.
But I love him, and I want to see him, so I force myself to stay up. Even when I have to be up early for work the next day, it just makes me feel so unimportant, like I'm not a priority to him, like he doesn't care about me as much as I care about him. It really hurts. I've cried myself to sleep so many nights, waiting for him, wondering where he is, if he's okay, only to find out he was just snoozing away, while I was worried sick. I've tried to break up with him over this, probably 5 or 6 times. I get so mad in the moment. I feel so disrespected. But then the next day, he apologizes. He sounds so sincere. He promises it won't happen again. And I believe him. I take him back every time. Because I love him. I don't want to lose him. But I'm starting to wonder how much more of this I can take. Last week, he did the same thing again. I finally had enough. I sent him this long, angry text, telling him how much he hurt me, how I was done with his broken promises. I said I couldn't do this anymore, that we were through. I blocked his number. I was so upset. I cried all night. The next day, I was miserable, but I stuck to my guns. I didn't reach out to him. Well, by that evening, he had found a way to message me. He was begging for another chance, telling me how much he loved me, how sorry he was. I caved. I agreed to meet up with him that night. He wanted to come over at 2 a.m. I said okay, even though I had work at 8 a.m. and I wasn't feeling great. So I dragged myself out of bed at 2. I waited for him and waited. 2:30 comes and goes. No boyfriend.
3 Uhr nachts.
Still nothing. I'm calling him, texting him. No answer. Finally, around 4 a.m., he texts me. Guess what he says? "Yep, you got it. I'm so sorry. I fell asleep. I lost it." I was shaking with anger and hurt and frustration. I couldn't fall back asleep. I just kept thinking, what is wrong with me? Why do I keep putting myself through this? Why do I let him treat me this way? I feel so disrespected, so unimportant. I know he has a hard time staying up late. I get it. But if he knows that, why does he keep making these plans? Why does he keep bailing on me? I don't know what to do. I love him so much, but I'm tired of feeling this way. I'm tired of being let down. I'm tired of being an afterthought. I know I should probably break up with him for real this time, but it's so hard. We have so much history, so many good times. I don't want to throw that all away, but I also don't want to keep feeling like this. I don't want to cry myself to sleep anymore. I don't want to be stood up in the middle of the night. I just want to feel loved. I want to feel like I matter. Is that too much to ask? I don't think so. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm being too dramatic. Maybe I'm expecting too much. Maybe this is just how relationships are. You take the good with the bad. I don't know. I'm so confused. Part of me thinks I should give him another chance. But another part of me is like, girl, how many more chances are you going to give him? When is enough enough? I wish I had the answers. I wish I knew what to do. I wish I didn't love him so much. Maybe then this would be easier. Maybe then I could just walk away. But I do love him. So much it hurts. So I stay. And I wait. And I hope that one day, he'll change. That one day, he'll start showing up. For me. For us. Until then, I guess I'll just keep being the girl who waits up all night. The girl who gets her heart broken over and over. The girl who's always there. Even when he's not. AITA for wondering if my coworker's unexpected hug means he has feelings for me? I'm a 28-year-old woman. I work at a big office building downtown. There's a guy I work with who's 34. We're not in the same department, but our paths cross a lot in meetings and in the break room. He's a friendly, outgoing guy. He jokes around with me sometimes. We have an easygoing relationship, but I've never thought of him in a romantic way. He's quite a bit taller than me. I'm only 5 feet 2 inches and he's well over 6 feet. The other day, we were chatting in the hallway. As we were saying goodbye, I playfully asked him for a hug. I was just being silly, not serious. I expected a quick, casual side hug, the way I sometimes hug other work friends. But that's not what happened. When I went in for the hug, he bent way down to my level. He wrapped his arms around my lower back. I had to reach up to hug around his shoulders. We weren't pressed up against each other or anything, but it definitely felt like closer contact than I was expecting from a work buddy. I was a little thrown off. The way he really leaned down made it feel almost protective, like a big brother or father figure kind of embrace. But there was also something about it that felt more personal than that, more affectionate. I couldn't help wondering, what was that about? Was it a sign that he sees me as more than a friend? Could he be harboring secret feelings for me? I've never gotten that vibe from him before, but that hug felt different from our usual interactions. It felt like it meant something. Or am I totally reading into it? Maybe he's just a touchy-feely kind of guy. Maybe he didn't want me to strain to reach up, so he met me halfway. Maybe it was just an awkward attempt at a friendly hug, nothing more. I honestly don't know. I keep replaying it in my head. I don't want to make it weird or assume he's into me if he's not. We have to work together. After all, making things uncomfortable would be bad. But I can't shake the feeling that the hug might have been his subtle way of expressing interest. If that's the case, I'm not sure how I feel. I've never really thought about him that way. He's a nice guy, but I don't know if I see him as more than a work pal. I'm so confused. That one little interaction has thrown me for a loop. Now I'm questioning everything, wondering if I've been oblivious to his intentions all this time. I feel like I'm probably overthinking a simple hug, but I also don't want to ignore signs or lead him on by accident. I wish I could just ask him what that hug meant to him, but that would be so awkward, especially if it turns out I'm totally off base. I'd be mortified, and I don't want to make problems for us at work. So now I'm just stuck wondering, trying to figure out if that embrace was his way of saying he wants to be more than coworkers, or if it was totally innocent and I'm being ridiculous. I guess time will tell. I'll have to pay more attention to how he acts around me from now on. See if I pick up on any other clues. Until then, I'll be over here overanalyzing a simple hug, probably making a mountain out of a molehill. Story of my life. I'm sure this is all just in my head. Unless... Am I the a-hole for confronting my boyfriend about his late-night disappearances and questionable behavior? I'm a 35-year-old woman, and I've been dating my 39-year-old boyfriend for a little over a year now. We were good friends for 3 years before we started dating. I thought I knew him well, but lately, things have taken a turn for the worse. When we first got together, he convinced me to move to a new city with him, far away from my family and friends. I trusted him and believed in our relationship, so I took the leap. But now, I'm starting to question everything. It all started when I found out he had been intimate with other women behind my back. I was shocked and hurt. I confronted him about it, telling him that it was completely unacceptable to me. But he just brushed it off, saying that there was no one like me and that he was a great provider. He made me feel like I should be grateful for what I had. But the thing is, I knew what kind of person he was before we started dating. He had a reputation for being a player, but I always thought I was different. He treated me differently than the other women he was with. Or so I thought. The other night, I woke up at 4 a.m. and noticed his car was gone. I waited up for him, and when he finally came home, he refused to answer any of my questions about where he had been. He said that I had no right to ask him about his whereabouts, and that he didn't have to tell me anything if he didn't want to. I was stunned. I had never tried to control him or tell him what to do, but suddenly, he was acting like I was the one in the wrong for being concerned about his late-night disappearances. When I pushed him for answers, he said something that really stuck with me. He told me that he always has something up his sleeve when it comes to women. He admitted that he had used other women in the past, but claimed he never cared to use me. But now, I'm not so sure. He likes to be called Daddy and demands that I rub his hands and body whenever he wants. He doesn't tolerate any talking back or questioning of his behavior. It's like he expects me to worship him and never challenge him on anything. I'm starting to feel like I've been duped, like I fell for his charm, and now I'm trapped in a relationship with someone who doesn't respect me or our relationship. I can't help but wonder if this is what narcissism looks like. I've always been an independent person, but now I feel like I'm constantly walking on eggshells, afraid to say or do the wrong thing. I don't want to be controlled or manipulated, but I also don't want to lose the person I thought I knew. I keep thinking about all the red flags I ignored in the beginning. The way he talked about his exes, the constant need for attention and validation, the way he always had to be right. I thought I could handle it, that I could be the one to change him. But now, I'm not so sure. I feel like I'm losing myself in this relationship. I don't recognize the person I've become. I used to be confident and self-assured, but now I'm constantly second-guessing myself and my decisions. I know I need to do something, but I'm scared. Scared of being alone, scared of starting over, scared of admitting that I made a mistake. But I also know that I deserve better than this. I deserve a partner who respects me and our relationship. Someone who is honest and faithful, who doesn't play games or manipulate me. Someone who values me for who I am, not just what I can do for them. But how do I get there? How do I break free from this cycle of manipulation and control? I know it won't be easy, but I also know that I can't keep living like this. I've started to reach out to my friends and family, the ones I left behind when I moved away with him. They've been supportive and understanding, even though I've been distant lately. They remind me of the person I used to be, the person I want to be again. I know I need to have a serious conversation with my boyfriend, to tell him that his behavior is unacceptable and that things need to change. But I also know that he may not be willing to change, that he may not see anything wrong with his actions. And if that's the case, then I know what I need to do. I need to leave, to walk away from this toxic relationship and start rebuilding my life. It won't be easy, but I know it's the right thing to do. I'm not sure what the future holds, but I know that I deserve happiness and respect. I deserve to be with someone who values me for who I am, not just what I can do for them. And I'm determined to find that, even if it means starting over. So, am I the asshole for confronting my boyfriend about his behavior? For wanting more from my relationship than lies and manipulation? I don't think so. I think I'm just a woman who wants to be loved and respected, and who is finally ready to stand up for herself. It's not going to be an easy journey, but I know it's one I need to take. I need to rediscover who I am outside of this relationship, to rebuild my self-esteem and my confidence. I need to surround myself with people who lift me up and support me, not tear me down and control me. And most importantly, I need to learn to trust myself again, to listen to my gut when it tells me something isn't right, and to act on those instincts. I ignored the red flags for too long, but I won't make that mistake again.